Hi everyone. Me, and Cassidy, we're jumping on today to dive into what does self-love have to do with your level of impact and abundance. Like a lot of people tend to like focus on all these things we got to do, all these strategies, all these things we hear about needing to do the next best, greatest thing, the shiny object syndrome. Um, but Cassidy and me, we came together and we know the truth is that has a lot to do with our vibration or energy alignment, right? And so we really wanted to jump on to share this with all of you. And so here we are. Please, if you're here listening, put your questions in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. And so, Cassidy, why don't you introduce yourself about what you do, why this is an important topic for you, and then we'll just dive right in.
Well, hello, I'm Cassidy, and thank you for having this talk with me. I am a mindful hypnotist, and what that means is I combine mindfulness and hypnosis together and help people get back into alignment because so many times we're kind of living like this dissociated life where we're just kind of walking around going through the motions of living, not really embracing like life and living and loving anything and everything that there is to this beautiful life. Like, especially if you're a mom with young children, you get wrapped up in like all the activities and the school days, or being a wife and having to do all the things. And then if you are an entrepreneur on top of all of that, like all of the things. And why this is important to me is I was living that. Like, I was so dissociated for such a long time that I just fell apart. I did not see life as worth living anymore. And through the power of hypnosis, I reconnected with my life, and it was like I was born again. I got into alignment. I got associated back into my body, back into who I am and what I am. And like my frequency just keeps elevating, and life is beautiful now. And so I want everybody to have that opportunity because you only get this body one time that you're in.
Yeah, and I totally hear you. Sometimes it takes these things, right, where we
Mhm.
feel like, do I, honestly want to be living here still, to go to that point of our lives. And I've been there too, Cassidy, and it's like, I think we talk about things that like self-love, like
Mhm.
we wouldn't even think about, that wouldn't even come across our mind if
No.
we haven't been in such a low place,
Yes.
and the beauty is that it's because self-love is such an intangible subject. It's like, me and Cassidy are here to make it a bit more tangible. And Cassidy, you talked about the body,
Mhm.
and the beauty is that we have different angles of doing a similar thing. It's like you're helping through hypnosis and mindfulness, and I am using the body. Excuse me. I'm using the face and body, and our face and body actually highlights so much within ourselves, about what is happening underneath. Our body is embodiment of our thoughts and our emotions, and I like to say that it makes it more tangible because we're looking in the mirror every day, right, Cassie? And
Yes.
like often, like, do you find you like yourself when you look in the mirror? Do you find you're just taking care of your appearances just to get through your day and for it to look good in front of other people versus really like, I really love myself and I'm really in love with you. You're doing awesome, amazing things. And so through a face analysis reading with someone, I walk someone exactly through this, how they experience themselves and to drop from a place of their mind into their heart. And because this is where we experience self-love.
Mhm.
Um, and, Cassidy, you could probably speak to this, is that there's lots of layers to self-love. And it's so important if we're wanting to create that next level of impact or next level of abundance. It's so important for us to raise our level of self-love. And so, what did that look like for you on your journey, Cassidy?
Oh, well, first I hear what you're saying. Like, even the words that we say to ourselves, like, usually they're words that have been imprinted upon us that then we just constantly repeat. It's like this cycle, this loop cycle in our mind that goes in, and we aren't even always aware of the words that we're saying to ourselves. But like, if you stop and just listen, like, your mind's constantly chattering. And for me, what you were talking about, like looking in the mirror, I wouldn't even look in the mirror. Like, my makeup would probably not even be like symmetrical, because I wouldn't even want to look in the mirror. I didn't like seeing the person that was looking back. And when I would do a quick take, like, it would kind of startle me because I didn't like what I was seeing back. And that was coming like from the inside out. And so I think that's why self-love is so important, because when we love ourselves wholeheartedly, like you said, it comes from our heart. And there's so much research showing the brain and the heart are connected, that when it comes from true, authentic loving of ourselves, it radiates outwards. And then the words that we are saying to ourselves are uplifting and positive. And you can look in the mirror and you can say, "Hey there, you're having a great day today, aren't you?" And like when you walk by a window or a mirror in a store or something, you can actually stop and look in that mirror and say, "Hey there, how you doing? Nice to see you today," or whatever. And really feel happy about that. And then those words, when you're bringing those words in and you're loving yourself from the inside out, what happens is that it's like this, you're going into the energetic field where it's radiating out. And so then you're attracting more positivity into your life. And then you're going to attract more abundance, whether it's monetary or love or people or connections or whatever kind of abundance it is that you're looking for, you're going to attract that to you. And so I guess, yeah, I hope I answered that question correctly.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful, and this is really a conversation, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of us, like, we get stuck in our mind going through the day, whatever that is, right? Doing the task, and we're not connected to how we're actually feeling within ourselves. And it's like if we are moving forward, but we're not fulfilling our own, taking care of our own needs, there's a place where we're actually blocking out this flow. Like, our heart naturally, we want to give, but oftentimes we give, and we forget to let it in to receive. And so every time we come to a place of the next level we want to do, right? Whether that's in our business, maybe the type of mother we want to be, right? The amount of money we want to let in. If there's a place within ourselves that we're not actually opening to receive ourselves, we're actually blocking it out energetically. And so I always tell my clients this, Cassidy. It's like if we're not constantly connected to our heart and what we say we want, and really like feeling into like, am I really connected to my deservingness around this? And taking steps with this energy alignment within ourselves. All right, there's a part of us we're actually blocking it out, and yet we're on this hamster wheel.
Yes.
And so this is where people get stuck, right, Cassidy? And we
Yes.
really want to get this message across to people. Our energy alignment makes a huge difference. And it does. It feels like self-love.
Yes. It really does. And when you aren't in that self-love, when you're like in that dissociated state or that state of self-loathing, it's almost like you're backwards manifesting, if you will. Like, you're calling in all the negativity. Say you're trying to manifest abundance monetarily. Well, then you're going to, like, the words that you're saying, the thoughts that you're believing, what you're telling your heart and your mind is, "I'm not worthy of receiving this money." And so, like, that might manifest in like your car breaking down, or a tree falling on your house and needing repair, or a bill coming due that you weren't expecting. So it's almost like a reverse manifestation that's going to come into play. And so how you can incorporate self-love in is like starting small with affirmations or doing emotional check-ins, like how am I feeling right now and why am I feeling this way? Like taking time out each and every single day, like set a time. Okay, I am going to spend 5 minutes with myself and I'm just going to ask myself some questions like, how am I feeling right now and why am I feeling this way? And then a lot of times we are so concerned with the past and the future and not the here and the now. And so we bring the past into the now, or we're so consumed with the future that we're not here and now. And that affects how we think and feel as well.
Yeah, it's so true, right? Staying in the presence, and it's coming into the present, but it's also stepping into presence with ourselves. Like when we look in the mirror, and I use this example because often we're rushing past ourselves, and it's like using this as a way to really um, like spend like a minute just looking at yourself. Notice what are the feelings that are coming up. Are there judgments coming up? Are there words of love coming up? It's like to really feel into, bring the presence there, because we often like feel like everything is okay. But when we're looking to go to the next level of where we're wanting to go, because we care so much, we want to give, give, give. It's like we got to recognize, are we able to even receive for ourselves in the presence? In the presence, in the present, whatever that is, right? And it's like, yeah, and um, yeah. Anyways, I think this is just like one of those topics that we don't necessarily put in the forefront, and it's so important. It's so important, Cassidy. It's again like every time I get to a next level of income or a next level of the type of clientele I want to work with, or the next mother that I want to be. That's really important to me. It's like I find that I it's like I got to deepen into loving myself, and often that looks like um, it's not always airy fairy like, oh, I'm just gonna love, right?
Yes.
Also being able to like stand in our power and like
Mhm.
be able to say, yeah, that's not good for me right now. I know that was good for me before, and in this moment on now, I'm so connected to myself that I know that that's not right for myself, and I'm able to say no. Or it's able to recognize everything that's out there on social media, all the noise, and be able to pick through what is actually going to serve me right now, what is noise. It's like this energetic boundary, so to speak.
Yes.
um, so important, because I think sometimes people have this misconception when they hear self-love that it has to be this soft and joy kind of flowy flowery kind of
Yes. Yes.
feel.
Exactly. And I just want to articulate too that I think, there's a lot of self-help books and gurus and different things. And what you're saying, like about the airy fairy, and like it should all just be like you're walking on rainbows and flowers and everything. And part of self-love is understanding yourself, like knowing what you're feeling and when you're feeling it. And to be in self-love, like you're going to experience anxiety, you're going to experience stress, you're going to experience anger. And that doesn't mean that you're bad or that there's something wrong. It's like anxiety is an alert system. So it's like loving yourself enough to know to be like, okay, I need to stop and understand, like, why am I feeling anxious? What exactly am I anxious about? And then what can I do to either change it or, find another avenue? And that is self love, like loving yourself enough to listen to your mind, listen to your body, and allow those alert systems to come into play. And like when we get angry, it doesn't mean we're bad. It doesn't mean that we've done anything wrong. And if you say something to someone in the heat of anger, you can go and apologize and you can forgive yourself and let the person know. And so it's important, I think, for people to know along the self-love journey that it isn't just you're always happy and like la 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 and walking on rainbows the entire time. Self-love is loving yourself for all the parts and pieces of you, the happies, the angries, the anxiouses, the, outpouring of love.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, Cassidy, because it's true. Anxiety, these symptoms, these chest tightness, these symptoms in our body are highlighting where we're out of alignment with our true, authentic being and self and what we actually need and want. And so I think it's so important to talk about this in the sense of, I think a lot of people, we've been, I don't know, wearing a mask for so long, like telling ourselves that if I do this, I'll be happy. If I just keep taking these steps, I'm going to be happy. And it's like we forget who we are. And then we wear this mask and we're smiling. But, if we're connected enough, we realize there's a disconnection about with how we feel about ourselves versus how we show up. And these symptoms that Cassidy is talking about, right? Like low moods, like depression, anxiety, chest tightness, back pain, like how we hold our body in holding ourselves in a small way. It's like these are all ways that we're actually holding fear. We're blocking out things, and it's like I think it's so important to recognize, and that can only be that we can only be radically honest with ourselves if we're giving ourselves time and space. And one of the things that Cassidy and me are a part of is that we're part of the Self Love, Self Care Confidence Summit. And it's a place where it's so important to put our attention to because it's so easy to stay on the rat race and forget about ourselves, and sometimes we need to be held with a certain energy. And it's not a typical summit where you just come and listen to people talk. You're actually invited to be part of a panel and a round table, and you can ask all the experts. Cassidy and myself are going to be in the panel, and many others. And it's opportunity to ask your questions live, to really allow yourself to create space for something new. Because that's one of the other things, Cassidy, is that we actually need to take away and create the space for something new to come in. And it's yeah, sometimes we need support and help along the way, right? With that.
Absolutely. And, the summit's going to be a safe space for people to come and ask questions because we're all here to heal, to create self-love, the confidence in a safe, nurturing way. So it's a very safe place. And something that you touched on that I want to share, like along my journey, when I was in my darkest hours, before I tried to end my life, like nobody on the outside knew. Like, so if you're experiencing depression and people aren't seeing it, like nobody would have known that I was depressed because I was always the one with the smile on my face, trying to please everybody else and giving so much of myself to others, but I wasn't giving anything to myself. So it's important to know, like, if you don't look the part of depression, it doesn't mean that it's not there. So I just wanted to share that because that's really important.
Yeah, I got shivers when you were sharing that, Cassidy. It's like it's so important to look at it in these different ways because it's like just that's what disconnection looks like. It looks like burnout,
Yeah.
whether you call it burnout, professional drain as the new
Yes.
term for it, or it's like you're chronically overwhelmed. Those are symptoms
Mhm.
of a calling of deeper self love.
Yeah.
Like if you're constantly getting sick, if you're constantly feeling tightness in your body and you realize you're not even able to take a breath and you gotta like actually force it in and you're realizing you're breathing shallow, like those are body symptoms. Like
Mhm.
if your energy symptoms, looks it manifests in our reality. It's like when you keep getting triggered again and again. There's so many things happening that are not doesn't feel and flow, like that's what it looks like in the everyday world as we're trying to do these things and it's just not working. You feel like, or maybe everything's flowing, but you feeling you're hitting a wall. Like wherever
Mhm.
you are in your journey, this is what it looks like. It's a
Mhm.
call, a deep calling for a deeper self love and acceptance, and for you to stand in your power to
Mhm.
be there for yourself.
Yes.
So yeah, like I'm really passionate about this.
I understand. I mean, like, that's why we're here, you know, like, we're here because we are powerful beings. And to not stand in your power, like, it doesn't mean like you're this I don't know, person who's superior to others. I think sometimes people think that, like, sometimes the way it's in stated with standing in your power, but it doesn't mean like that you're a superior being. It just means that you are in touch with yourself, and you're so aligned with yourself that, like, when you stand in your power, it's like you're standing straight, that the light is like just coming straight down through you and out through you. I like to try to create visuals for people to understand what it might look like. I'm sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Cassidy. And I'm just curious, like before we wrap up, is there any last words that are on your mind and heart to share with the audience today?
It is just my mission and my purpose to help heal the human collective and get us all of our vibrational energies lifted. And I do have a free gift for anyone listening, 6 easy ways to raise your vibration. And you can find that at CassidyGreen.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that gift. We'll definitely, put it in the show notes at the end there. And I just want to leave this with people is that we are meant to be happy. We're meant to live our true self and purpose, and let that lead to the abundance that we're trying to create. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And it's that this is the journey of self-love, allowing yourself to embody both. I support people in this journey by using their own face and body as the journey map, the blueprint to your happiness, your love, and your road to abundance. And so I will share, discover what your face shape says about you as a free sort of way to connect. Start that journey of connecting back with your body, and to remember the truth of who you are and creating the life you want. And so we'll definitely put these free offers in the chat. We also want to invite you to the Self-Love, Self-Care Confidence Summit, and to allow yourself to step into that space of creating this new level for yourself to match your level of self-care with your level of impact and abundance and happiness that you want to make. And so we'll definitely have that all in the show notes. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have any questions about anything we've said in this, like, please reach out to Cassidy or myself, just on the avenue that you've experienced this live. Would be beautiful. We'd love to chat and connect with you. So just coming to a close here, just sending you presence, self-love, and just choosing something different in the moment for yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, we'll be in touch on social media and talking more about this wonderful event that's coming up.